Good afternoon. I'm hoping this lesson will make sense as I go through it very specifically on how to multiply two matrices together. The first thing I want you to do, though, is I want you to write down this little parentheses here. Write down row times column. This is very, very important. This will help remind you over and over and over how to multiply matrices because you do rows times columns. So what that means is every single row in the first matrix, I need to multiply by every single column in the second matrix. Now I'm going to show you how to multiply those in just a minute. But as we multiply, another thing you need to make sure is that the number of rows in the second column, this red 3, is the same as the number of columns in the second matrix or the first matrix, because this is the way you'll multiply them. We're going to find this number here. This number is element, so I'm going to do A 2 1. Now, that means it's the second row, first column. So I'm going to take every element in the second row. This is my second row of my first matrix. So again, I'm taking rows from my first matrix. I'm going to write down 3, 1, and 2. Right here, I'm going to write down 3, 1, and 2. Then I'm going to take the first column, because this is the first column. I'm going to take the first column of my second matrix. First column, I'm going to write down these 3 numbers underneath this row. So I'm going to write down the -2, the 3, and the -3. And you have to have them paired up, 1 to 1. So this first element in the first row has to have an element here. This element has to be matched up with this element. And this third element would have to be matched up with this third element. That's why there needs to be just as many rows in the second one as there are columns in the first one. Now what you're going to do is you're going to multiply straight down, times straight down. 2 times -3 is -6. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times -2 is -6. Now you're going to add, this is the weird part, you're going to add those 3 numbers together. So I'm going to add -6 to 3 to -6. That's going to give me a total of -9. That is the number that will go right here, -9. Now, to find this element here, let's do this in a different color. Let's maybe do this in red. I'm going to take, because this element is in my, it's going to be my third row, second column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my third row from my first matrix, which is a 1, 1, and a 1. That's these 3 ones along here. I'm going to take the second column. That's this second column of my second matrix, which is 2, -3, -2, 2, -3, -2. And now again, I'm going to multiply straight down. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times -3 is -3. 1 times -2 is -2. And now I'm going to add those 3 numbers together. So I'm going to add 2 to -3 to -2. That's going to give me a final sum or product, because it's actually a product and a sum put together, but it's -3. That's what will go right here. And it has already been done for you on these other ones. Matrix multiplication is a very long process. Normally computers are what we get to do it. But if you ever go into computer programming, you need to understand the underlying basics of it. And that's why we have you learn that. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in here -9. I'm going to type in here -3. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to erase the ones so you can see that I put a -9 and a -3 in there. And we're going to submit this and see if I did this correctly. Now, before I do that, though, I want you to understand that that's where the 7 came from. very quickly, I would do 1 to get this row 1 element 1, to get this element here, which is a 7, I would have taken this first row and multiplied by the first column. In other words, 1 times -2 will give me -2. Then I would have done 3 times 3. That would be a 6. And I'm going to add to it. And then I would also do 0 times -3, which is 0. And I add those together. Oh, 3 times 3 is not 6, it's 9. There we go. I can multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times -2 is -2. 3 times 3 is 9. 0 times -3 is 0. Add those together, and guess what we got? 7. I knew I made a mistake because -2 plus 6 wasn't 7. I'm like, okay, I made a mistake somewhere. I struggled at multiplying 3 times 3. Make sure you multiply. Don't add those ones. Multiply it that way, and then add those 3. I know it seems confusing, but after you do it and practice it a few times, it will get easier and easier. Correct. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll do one more very, very quickly. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do row 1, column 1, because that's this cell right here. It's first row, first column. First row is 1, 0. First column is 0, 3. We multiply down. 1 times 0 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. I add those together and I get a 0 for that term. 0. Then if I wanted to get to this second one here, again, that's row 2, column 1 still. So now I'm going to go to row 2, which is a 2 and a 2, column 1, which is a 0 and a 3, multiply straight down. 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 3 is 6, add those together, and I get a 6 for that second term. So I'm going to get a 6. I don't know why I did the first one because it was already done for you. 6. Now let's do this one here very quickly. Again, this is the row 2 and the second column, column 2. Okay, row 2 was a 2 and a 2. That's this row right here. Column 2 now is a 2 and a 3. Going to multiply straight down. That's 4. 2 times 3 is 6. Add those together, and I get 10 for that row 2, column 2 element. So that's a 10. Again, it's going to take some practice. If you have questions, please do bring them to class, and I will go over it again.